Alrighty, something new today, a little bit. We're going to do multiplying, but now we're going to do a binomial times a binomial. So it's going to be a little bit different, a little bit more distributing, but basically the same thing. We call this, when we have two binomials, we're going to call this double distributing. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do it. But it's basically what we've been doing before, but now we're just going to make sure that we have, before we were doing x times 2x squared plus 5, and we distributed, and we ended up with 2x cubed plus 5x. Now we're going to do a binomial here, which is just going to add like one more step to the process. Okay, so I'm going to do these ugly algebra tiles and see if this kind of doesn't make sense. Okay, if I have x minus 1, I'm going to put x minus 1 up here, and I'm going to put x plus 3 over here. Let's try that again. So my x algebra tile looks like that, and my -1 algebra tile's a color. And then this way, I've got a skinny algebra x, and then I have 3 pluses. So what happens when we multiply those together is we end up with an x squared tile that looks like that. And I multiply this and I end up with a negative or a shaded 1 here. And I end up with 3 long skinny ones here. And then I end up with 3 little piddly ones over here, and they're negative also. So if I was going to write this as an expression, I would have my x squared is the square one, and then I have 3 positive x's, but I also have a negative x, and then I have these 3 negative little ones down here, unit tiles. So I would combine those terms and I would end up with x squared plus 2x minus 3. Okay, if I'm gonna just do that algebraically, I'm gonna do what we're calling double distribute. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my x minus 1 times x plus 3. I'm going to break up my x minus 1 into 2 separate things. And I'm going to multiply each one of those separately times x plus 3. So what I did was I took the x from this first one and I'm going to distribute and multiply it times here. And then I'm going to take this minus and I'm also going to distribute it. That's why we're calling it double distributing. So I separated out my x minus 1. I wrote my x plus 3 twice because I'm multiplying it times my first term, and then I'm multiplying it times my second term. So here's my x, here's my minus 1. I'm multiplying each of those separately times x plus 3. So after I distribute, I have x squared plus 3x. And after I distribute over here, I have minus x minus 3. Here's those terms I can combine again, x squared plus 2x minus 3. So I end up with the same answer. What I'm doing is distributing twice because I have 2 terms up here. And so I separate those out and then multiply each one separately times x plus 3. One other way we talked about doing those, and I'll just do it down here at the bottom, was if I take these two, I can also kind of make a box. And I guess you people who kind of liked lattice multiplying might like this better. I'm going to make a box. We'll see if this is big enough for me to write in. Here's my x plus 1, and here's my x plus 2. And I'm going to multiply this times this, and I get x squared. Then I'm going to multiply x times 1 and I get x, or plus x. I multiply x times 2 and I get 2x. And I multiply 2 times 1 and I get 2. So now I've got 4 terms in here. These guys are the same. So I have x squared plus 2x. I'll just write them all out. Plus x plus 2, which gives me x squared plus 3x plus 2. Same thing, I just reorganized. I just used a different graphic organizer basically to model my equation. But it comes out, all three of these ways come out the same answer. It's just a matter of which way you like to do your problems. Okay, so double distributing. Horrible writing right there. I'm going to separate out my x plus 1. I'm multiplying each one of those times x plus 2. Double distributing. So basically I'm distributing my x, and then I'm going to distribute my 1, and I have to multiply it times x plus 2, each one separately. X squared plus 2x plus x plus 3. X squared plus 3x plus, 2. Plus 2. Got carried away there. Okay, so I'm going to do my problems using the double distribution using this guy because that's easier for me, but you can use any one of these ways you want. Maybe I'll switch it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my purple because it made me happier. Purple, what a great color. Okay, so let's do the square thing again. So I have x minus 3 and x minus 5. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. X times negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is plus 15. So I end up with x squared. Minus 5x minus 3x is minus 8x plus 15. Okay, number 4, I'm going to do 3x times x plus 4 minus 2 times x plus 4. So I took that and separated it, put my x plus 4 twice so I could multiply each one times it separately. So I end up with 3x squared plus 12x minus 2x minus 8, or 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. Same answers, same thing we were doing before. I'm still combining my like terms. We've just added another term into what we're working. Okay, so number 5, if I'm squaring this, 2 minus y, remember this is my base. So what I have is 2 minus y times 2 minus y. So I'm going to, this makes it a little confusing because they're both exactly the same. But it doesn't change what I do, it just makes it, might be a little confusing when you look at it. Okay, so I have 2 minus y, 2 minus y, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times negative y is negative 2y, negative y times 2 is negative 2y, negative y times negative y is positive y squared. So I'm going to write it, I'm going to switch it around so my y squared comes first. Minus 2y makes minus 4y plus 4. Okay, let's separate this one out. 2x times x minus y plus 3y times x minus y. Separated out the first one, so I can multiply it times the second binomial separately each one. So I have 2x squared minus 2xy plus 3xy minus 3y squared. Okay, notice what I did for this guy and this guy. I put my x and y in the same order because it's the same, making this 3yx. First of all, it doesn't match, even though it's got the same variables. And I don't know if you remember, I had mentioned, I think, before that you always go alphabetically or from highest exponent to lowest exponent, just as a matter of keeping everything organized. So I can still combine these middle terms. So I have 2x squared plus xy, 1xy, right, minus 3y squared. All right, number 7. Oh no, I have a trinomial. That's okay, I do the exact same thing. So I'm going to separate out my 3x minus 5 and multiply it times 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. Here's my minus 5 is all the way over here. 2x squared plus 4x minus 3. So I'm going to multiply that 2x squared plus 4x plus minus 3 times my 3x, and then times my minus 5, and then put it all together. So I have 6x squared, x cubed, excuse me, plus 12x squared minus 9x minus 10x squared minus 20x plus 15. So I'm going to put these guys together. I'm going to stack them, I guess. I don't think it'll let me write right here. No, it won't. Okay, so here's my minus 10x squared. And then here's my minus 20x. So there's that. So when I'm finished, I have 6x cubed plus 12 minus 10 is 2x squared minus 29x plus 15. So it just added an extra term, but it didn't really change what we were doing. Alrighty. So let's think about our tabletop. For x minus 6, 4x minus 6. So if I'm looking for the area, I'm either going to say 4x minus 6 squared, which is 4x minus 6 times 4x minus 6. I'm going to make a little table. 4x minus 6, 4x minus 6. 4x times 4x is 16x squared. 4x times negative 6 is minus 24x. Minus 6 times 4x is minus 24x. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. So I have 16x squared minus 48x plus 36 because I combine those together. Alrighty. So let's find the area of the shaded part. So I'm multiplying these guys for the area of the big part, and then I'm subtracting those guys. So 3x plus 5 times 3x minus 4 minus x times x plus 1. So I'm going to write 3x times 3x minus 4. Oops. If I can find my eraser really quickly. Alrighty. Let's go back to my pen. Plus 5 times 3x minus 4 minus x times x plus 1. Okay. So 3x times 3x, 9x squared minus 12x plus 15x minus 20 minus x squared minus x. I can stack my x's and my x squared. So that was that one and that one. Oh, and I have another x over here, minus x. So when I'm finished, I have 8x squared. 15 minus 12 is 3, minus another one is 2, plus 2x minus 20. Alrighty, volume, multiplying these three together. So I think what I will do is go ahead and multiply these guys. So I have 2x squared minus 3. And then I have x times, I'm going to do this, I'll write it out for you. Just trying to save steps. Okay, so I have 2x squared minus 3 times, I'm going to do this one, x squared plus 3x. I'm going to run out of room. I'm going to separate out my 2x squared times x squared plus 3x minus 3 times x squared plus 3x, and that's equal to 2x to the fourth plus 6x to the third minus 3x squared minus 9x. And I'm done because none of that combines because none of those are like terms. Okay, I started doing this one and then I guess I ran out of time. I guess someone distracted me. Okay, so first of all, I made up a problem and I put a 2 right there because there wasn't anything. So the area of the triangle is 1/2 times 4x plus 2 times x plus 4. I'm going to subtract x times x plus 1. So I have 1/2 4x times x plus 4 plus 2 times x plus 4. Separated out this guy. Minus x times x plus 1. So, and I have 1/2 when I'm done. So I need to not forget that. Okay, so I have 4x squared plus 16x plus 2x plus 8 minus x squared minus x. So I'm going to end up putting my 2x down here and my minus x and my, oh, nope, wait, what did I do? What did I do? I did that one and I did that one. Oh, so I do minus x squared here. That's that one. So when I'm done, I have 3x squared plus 17x plus 8. Okay, so kind of hate to do the next one, but because you can make up one, but I'll go ahead and do 2x plus 1 times 8x squared plus 3x minus 8. Totally just made that up. And I'm going to make a big old box down here just because I can. So I have, oh, because I'm going to need another section. Okay, 8x squared, 3x positive minus 8, 2x plus 1. So 2x times 8x squared is 16x cubed. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. 2x times negative 8 is minus 16x plus 1. So I have 1 times 8x squared is 8x squared. 1 times 3x is 3x. 1 times 8 is negative 8. So I end up putting these guys together and these guys together. So I have 16x to the third. I have 8x squared plus 6x squared, which is 14x squared. I have minus 16x plus 13x, so that's minus 13x minus 8. There you have it. So it's getting double distributing. You might have heard it called FOIL before. We're not using that, though, if you know what it is. And we're going to spend 2 days on this. So you're going to have a day of practice tomorrow, and then we'll do a day of kind of an activity with some extra practice.